Well, an RTI filed by civil rights activists has revealed that in the past 15 years, bad loans of more than 10 lakh crores have been written off and only rupees 80,000 crore have been recovered out of this mammoth amount. The write-offs include banks from public and private sectors, including foreign banks and NBFCs. The RTI activist Prafful Sarda, who fought these details, sought these details, has questioned why the government should permit such write-offs by financially sound foreign banks as well. In fact, let's listen in to these reactions coming in at the back of this story.
के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन मांगी थी और विलफुल डिफॉल्टर्स के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन मांगी थी, लेकिन मुझे जो चौंकाने वाले आंकड़े और जानकारी जो आरबीआई की तरफ से दी गई है वो बहुत ज़्यादा सरप्राइजिंग है, क्योंकि 2004 से लेकर 2020 तक की इन्फॉर्मेशन देने के बाद भी आरबीआई ने सिर्फ 31 दिसंबर 2019 तक की जानकारी दी है और उसके आगे की जानकारी अभी तक उनके सिस्टम में अपडेट नहीं हुई है। एक साल खत्म होने आया है और अभी तक कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन उनके पास अपडेट नहीं हुई है। लेकिन जो आंकड़े मुझे पता चले हैं उसमें ये सीधा पता चलता है कि यूपीए 1 और यूपीए 2 10 साल के टर्म में आरबीआई ने 2,20,000 करोड़ का लोन राइट ऑफ किया था और मोदी गवर्नमेंट आने के बाद 2015 से लेकर 2019 31 दिसंबर 2019 तक लगभग 8 लाख करोड़ का लोन राइट ऑफ किया गया है। मुझे लगता है कि मोदी जी का जो कहना था सबका साथ सबका विकास, ये सिर्फ सिलेक्टेड इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट और सिलेक्टेड लोगों के लिए है, इसमें आम आदमी को कोई राहत नहीं मिली है। इसके लिए आरबीआई की पॉलिसी भी उतनी जिम्मेदार है, क्योंकि हम लोग आज भी 1995 की पॉलिसी फॉलो करते हैं 2020 में, जिसमें सारे क्रेडिट रिलेटेड जितने भी मैटर है वो वहाँ के कंसर्न बैंक के बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स और बैंक के ऊपर छोड़े गए हैं, ताकि वो डिसाइड कर सकते हैं कि कितना अमाउंट राइट ऑफ में डालना है, कितना नहीं डालना है, और उससे रिलेटेड जो भी कुछ होगा वो सिर्फ बैंक डिसाइड करेगी, उसमें आरबीआई का कोई इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं होगा। और यही एकमात्र रीज़न है कि बैंक लोन राइट ऑफ बहुत ऊंचे नंबर पे हो रहे हैं। इसमें फॉरेन बैंक्स को भी राइट ऑफ दिया गया है। मुझे तो इस पे हैरानी हो रही है कि भारत सरकार और आरबीआई ये चाहती है कि यहाँ के कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स, पीएसयू और पीएसबी यानी प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक, इन सबको राइट ऑफ मिलना चाहिए, लेकिन फॉरेन बैंक्स को राइट ऑफ देने के पीछे की असली वजह क्या है ये अभी तक क्लियर नहीं है। इसमें एचएसबीसी, सिटी बैंक, स्टैंडर्ड चार्टर्ड बैंक, रॉयल बैंक ऑफ स्कॉटलैंड और बार्कलेज ऐसे कई बैंक्स हैं जिनको बैंक लोन में राइट ऑफ दिया गया है। तो मुझे लगता है कि इसकी निष्पक्ष जांच होनी चाहिए। इसमें जो भी व्यक्ति इन्वॉल्व है और जिन लोगों ने आरबीआई की पॉलिसी फॉलो नहीं की है उन पे कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए।
Right, so an RTI file by civil rights activists has revealed that in the past 15 years, bad loans of more than 10 lakh crores have been written off and only 80,000 crores have been recovered from these bad loans. That's not even 1/10 of what was given away as loan. And the write-offs include banks from public as well as the private sectors, including foreign banks and some NBFCs. RTI activist Prafful Sarda, who sought these details, has questioned why the government should permit such write-offs by financially sound foreign banks as well. The economy already in strain with the COVID-19 wreaking havoc in terms of the economic paradigm, and banks getting away with mammoth loans which they have taken and could not fructify into profitability, defaulting and then getting away with it. Right, Prafful Sarda joins us on the broadcast, the RTI activist who in fact sought out these details. Prafful, can you hear me? Prafful, can you hear me? Alright, there seems to be a problem with Prafful's audio. We'll try and have that fixed, but Prafful Sarda can't hear me right now. Prafful, if you can hear me. Prafful, if you can hear me. Prafful, if you can hear me. Okay, there seems to be a problem with his audio. We'll try and get that rectified momentarily. But this is big news, and this is concerning news. Rupees 10 lakh crore is not a small amount. Out of that, only 80,000 crore has been recovered. Urvashi Kona, my colleague, joins me on the phone line to talk more about this. Urvashi, this is a huge cause of concern. Prafful Sarda has, sought out these details. The RTI inquiry reveals that only 1/10, even lesser than 1/10 of these loans were paid back, and 9,20,000 crore rupees have been written off as bad loans, and that also towards banks and institutions which are financially sound, have been posting profitability. How can the government allow this to happen?
Well, if we see and talk about the shocking figures that are out, there are certainly, a cause of concern with respect to the Indian banking and economic system. The way there are so many flaws and loopholes which need to be addressed as soon as possible, because there is a burden on Indian banking system otherwise. The way write-offs are being given so easily at several sectors. You talk about public, you talk about private, you talk about foreign sectors. All of these sectors have, in their own way, out of the limit, it seems that the write-offs are being given. There's also very much important to understand whether there is the basic intent at least of all these banking organizations to recover at their best level. In front of us, there are several examples, taking from Vijay Mallya to Mehul Choksi and brothers to others, the way they have just kept on with so many amounts to be paid, and that's the reason all of those banking that are related to all these scams, they are highest in the numbers today if we talk about this particular RTI. The RTI has so clearly come up with a very proper detailed network of how in lakhs and crores the write-off are given, and how the banking sector is just busy in keeping their whatever the exchanges and their last minute or year-ending books clear. And in that very particular level, they are just giving up the write-offs that are there. Waive-off is different and write-offs are different. But then if we talk about write-offs, which are in such huge numbers, it is certainly a matter of concern that at very basic level and at emergency and urgency level, which needs to be addressed.
Urvashi, stay with us. Prafful, if you can hear me now. Okay, we still don't have Prafful, but Urvashi, even the Confederation of Indian Industry, the CII, has shown immense concern as a number of banks, especially during the COVID-19 period, have put in requests to not pay these bad loans. The non-performing assets of state-owned lenders has worsened during the COVID-led disruptions. What is going to be the way out of this? Are more banks going to be roped in now to get some of these ailing and failing banks to recover and pay back what they owe? Okay. While in the aftermath of COVID, it is important that a resolution or a mechanism through a market-determined price recovery and cost recovery and loan recovery be initiated. The banks have been under a lot of strain, but 10 lakh crores is a big amount. And this is a big expose, and this is about the non-performing assets which have only piled up since COVID-19 began. A number of independent industries and agencies have shown that this is something which will need to be addressed. It's a conundrum of sorts, and this is something that the government has to look into. And lenders have lost money, borrowers have also lost money. They can't repay the principal on the loan. Some of them can't even pay the interest on such loans. And it's a non-performing asset. And the loans, however, that are given away by the banks are their assets. Right, at this point in time, Prafful Sarda is joining us on the phone line to talk more about this. Prafful, I hope you can hear me now.
I can hear you now. Very much.
Prafful, 10 lakh
Yes,
crores is a huge amount. It's the big picture that we have to be concerned about. The NPAs, and this is a massive sum. It almost translates to more than 10% of all the loans, Prafful, that have been given. What's the government going to do? Is there going to be some restructuring, some re-recognizing of these NPAs? Because the stress would be somewhere close to 22 to 25% of the total loans.
See, the numbers I have got it through RTI are very surprising. If you look at last 15 years, there's like a 10 lakh crore have been written off. So basically, our taxpayer money have been written off, and all these industrialists who been a big time defaulters like Vijay Mallya, Mehul Choksi, Nirav Modi, and the list is unending. And the bank policy is responsible for this. Even after 25 years, we are still following 1995 old policy. And surprisingly, RBI has been given these policies. The implementation, they have never reviewed it. And that's the reason the concerned banks have all the possible ways to tackle these loan issues. So, and as well as the board of directors. So, while giving out the loans, it's not that they are following the RBI policies, but they are implementing whatever the concerned bank's top management and the boards have been deciding. So, in that case, we have seen Vijay Mallya have been given a particular amount of loan from the same bank for the same property for several times. The same case happened to the Nirav Modi. So, ultimately, these banks are not following the norms that have been issued by the RBI. And that is the additional burden coming on the people like you and me. In fact, it's our money who has been distributed to them and they never pay back.
Right, Prafful. What do you think is the prime reason for this kind of a failure? Because obviously we are in the middle of an economic slowdown. Is it the flawed credit appraisal system? Is it the inadequate post-disbursal monitoring? Is it because there have been loan dispersals to consequential frauds, improper valuations of tangible and intangible securities? What is it that has contributed to this mammoth sum?
The top level bank management from the concerned bank are responsible for this. We have recently seen ICICI Bank, the Chanda Kochar have been facing some inquiries. We have seen Yes Bank crisis. We have been seeing PMC Bank shutting down. So all these banks' top management, they are the decision makers. They decide whom to give loan, how much to give loan, and how much to recover the money. The RBI clearly said them that the top management should look after it. The bank will cover the maximum amount, even if the person becomes a defaulter. But I have never seen somebody attaching the properties and they are auctioning it, and that is the reason the bank top management are the prime reason why this loan return off happening over the years, and so far it's been more than 10 lakh crore.
Prafful, there is also this notion that these NPAs have adversely affected the decision-making process for sanctioning fresh credit to MSMEs, which have been under a lot of stress because of the COVID-19 situation. And this increasing amount of bad loans have prompted banks to be extra cautious. Are we looking at some sort of an insular recession, which the banks are already impacted by but not declaring?
That is of course true. We have recently seen the civil things also taking place. The civil issues. I don't know. How many people are aware? But the RBI have not allowed any civil body to have your credit score. But these MSMEs and all these bank people, they have some different rules and regulations for common people and some different rules and regulations for the industrialists. So there is a differentiate happening between the two people who are going to take a loan. And surprisingly, they do not give a loan who's a regular payer, but they give loans to these defaulters. So even into putting a lot of money to MSMEs will not help.
Right, absolutely. And Prafful, do you also think that there is this exaggerated economic growth expectation, which is perhaps bought by these banks, and erroneously, they disburse these loans, and then people who have borrowed these loans, they default. Perhaps the measures that qualify for a person or an institution to get these loans should be made stricter.
I firmly believe that the loan policies needs to be reframed and re-implemented by the RBI, and these all credit related matters RBI should take in their hands. So no top level management from a concerned bank will be allowed to have a complete control over distribution of loan, and that can be one of the major steps we can have to reduce this loan return off, or to reduce this NPA, or to have this bad debt.
All right, Prafful, appreciate you joining us, and talking about this rot of sorts which is plaguing the pocket of the country, the pocket of the common man, and this is a crisis of enormous proportions which the government has to look into in a very expedited manner. Thank you, Prafful, for speaking with us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.